The guy who runs British Columbia said something interesting today, where he said that if you're fighting with Canada, you probably don't have many friends. He's referring to the fact that Donald Trump has picked a fight with Canada again, has started a trade war once again, and that if you are in a conflict with Canada, which, look, Canada's not a saint, but on the world stage, it's really not hard to get along with Canada. So if you are not getting along with Canada, chances are you're hardly getting along with anyone else. And that would seem totally true. America has never been more isolated, more friendless, and more lonely than it is now under Donald Trump.
One of the main reasons why I love Canada so much, and I will always love Canada, and I think I will always feel a little bit more comfortable in Canada than I do in France, is the fact that Canada on a lot of social issues is way more liberal than France is. And we are way further in that movement than France is. And it's interesting because that's always been my lived experience, and I've always shared it with people both in Canada and in France, and I don't always get a positive response. But my comment section confirms this. Don't get me wrong, misogyny, sexism lives everywhere in the world. There's no denying that. But I really have noticed such a shift when posting content in France and in French. So I posted a video a couple days ago where I basically talked about the fact that I haven't recovered from the fact that France lost the World Cup football final in 2022 against Argentina. If you know, you know. And I got comments like this one. Oh, can you even name the 11 starting players for the Argentinian team without looking it up on the internet, basically, is what the comment says. I got another comment saying, oh, we're not upset about the World Cup final because we don't watch football only every 4 years. I hate that I have to justify myself. I am a huge football fan. I will follow the French national team anywhere that they go. So I try to go see almost all competitions. Every time I'm in France, I go see a game. But not only that, I'm an Arsenal fan. I watch club football every weekend, or most weekends. And again, this is not me justifying myself, but this is just me saying and proving the point that I would never get a comment like this in Canada from my Canadian audience. Or at least I don't think that I would. But as soon as I land in France, I get all this type of comments. And let's just do better. Let's do better. But also, this is why I love my Canadians. And I also wanted to share this because Canadians don't realize this. They don't realize how lucky they are. So anyways, thank you, Canada.
This is how we work in Canada. This guy, Portuguese. This guy, Italian. This guy is a Greek. And I'm from Iraq. But we all work like a brother. That's why I love Canada.
Tell me you have never been to Canada without telling me you've never been to Canada. Okay. Number one, the people are nice. People are kind. People are kind. When I moved to Montana 4 years ago, my DMs were filled with hate mail. Go back to where you came from. We don't want you here. Since coming to Canada on a tourist visa, my DMs are filled with messages from Canadians welcoming our family. Number two, diversity. People from everywhere. People from India, people from various countries in Africa. And guess what? Canada embraces diversity a lot better than America. Okay. Number three, our USD goes further here. That's right. Everything that I purchase is at a discount because our money goes further here. All right, number four, family-friendly environment. When I tell you the amount of families here and the parks and recreations, the green spaces, the amount of summer camps that my kids can go to that we didn't have access to in Montana. Yes, absolutely, for real. Number 5. And really, this probably should have been higher up on the list. But the nature, the beauty, the mountains, the lakes, all over. Various provinces have their own little nature points, but definitely the nature on the west side, for sure, is absolutely beautiful. I can't speak for the other side because I've never been, but BC, Alberta, beautiful landscapes. Yeah, good try. But yes, you should try visiting Canada before you put stuff on the internet.
One of my favorite things to talk about is the Canadian stereotype about how people in Canada are so incredibly kind and generous and apologetic, right? And I don't think people truly understand what that means in practice. So I wanted to talk about that. I moved to Canada almost 11 years ago from Germany. I'm originally from France, but I was living in Germany at the time. And something that I haven't really talked about on here is the fact that once upon a time, I actually made the decision to leave Canada. So I had lived in Canada for about 5 or 6 years, and I actually felt like I didn't really belong. I felt like this didn't feel like my permanent home, and so I made the decision to move back to Europe. And so I actually moved back to Germany for a couple years and eventually actually moved back to Canada. And one of the things that has stood out the most in that experience of like choosing to leave and then choosing to come back is why I made that decision. Like, what drew me back to Canada? Why do I feel comfortable here? Why do I feel at home? And it sounds cheesy to say, but it's really about the people. And this is the main difference with countries that I've lived in Europe, specifically Germany and France. If I'm in a supermarket, a store, the street, the metro, whatever public place I might be in, my nervous system is always in overdrive. And what I mean by that is I will never feel 100% comfortable going up to somebody and asking a question or like chit-chatting with the cashier or just, I don't know, like bumping into somebody on the street and apologizing. Like, I will constantly be fearing that somebody overreacts or somebody meets me with like a rude greeting or an unpleasant interaction. And by the way, that fear may not always be valid, right? Like, you may interact with somebody in Germany or France and like they're the kindest people ever, but that fear that you have is because you know that there's chances that you'll be met with perhaps not the most pleasant interaction, right? In Canada, what I realized is that fear doesn't exist. And that's not to say there aren't unkind people in this country, but that's to say that I don't have the fear to actually start an interaction or like greet somebody or ask a question, because I know that 99% of the time I'm going to be met with the most pleasant interaction ever, even with strangers, right? People I don't know. I think that's what makes Canada feel like home. I'm comfortable. My nervous system is calm. I'm not constantly fearing an unpleasant interaction. And that is specifically what people mean when they say that people are really kind and generous and pleasant. I think that's the best way I can explain it.
Hello once again, welcome back again to my channel, and if you're watching me for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel, like my video and share my videos, because here is where we break the real truth, which most of the people are afraid to talk about. So folks, have you ever wondered why Canada seems to have a very special place in the hearts of people all around the world? From Africa to Asia, from Europe to Caribbean, millions of people look at Canada and see something different. I mean, for some, Canada represents opportunity. For others, is the breathtaking landscapes, the multicultural cities, or simply the idea of living in a country where, people from completely different backgrounds can call the same place home. But here's the very interesting part. Canada isn't perfect. We all know that. There's no country which is perfect. Yet, somehow, just somehow, Canada has built an image that makes people around the world curious about it, admire it, and in many cases, dream about moving there. So, what exactly is it about Canada? And why does this country seem to have such a powerful global appeal? Let's talk about it.
As the anthem reminds us, the true North is indeed strong and free. May you honour the profound trust bestowed upon you by Canadians, and may God bless and guide you in all your duties.
Why has the USA decided to mess with Canada? Have you never heard the expression, don't mess with the quietest person in the room? Don't do it. Canada is friendly, they're calm, they're collected, they're cool, they're lovely. Don't mess with the quiet ones. Just don't do it. You will feel the wrath. America, listen, we love you, you're loud. And usually the loudest person isn't the one to be scared of, it's the quiet one. Canada, they sit back, they listen, they watch, they observe. Don't touch them. Don't wake them up. And you know what? Now that you've gone and done that, I'm gonna what? I can already see it unraveling. Canada is not giving two fucks, and I love it. Canada. I fucking love Canada. But yeah, what have you done? Why? Don't poke the quiet person.
I didn't even ask them to do this. People in the United States are just commenting with their state support for Canada. So I think this might start to show you how much.
I'm seeing a lot of negativity about this beautiful country that we live in, where we have the freedom to be whoever and whatever we choose to be, regardless of religion, race, gender, sexuality. We are equal here. We take care of each other. We take care of our people. There are places to fall back on. There are places that will help and support when that need is there. Go travel a little bit. Take a look around. See what's out there. See what's happening in countries where there really is desperation and poverty that there is no help for. In this country, there are definitely problems. There are issues. There are things that need to be fixed and things that need to be changed. But in this country, we also have hope. We have opportunity. And if you want to call me a libtard, and if you want to call me a communist, please do, because you have the freedom to do that.
Canadians are the smartest people I know. Like, they don't wear shoes inside of their houses because it'll take the germs from outside into the house. And it's genius. Like, for the first 23 years of my life, I've been wearing shoes inside my house in South Africa. And I don't know what's wrong with the people in South Africa. Why are we doing this? We need to start doing this and taking your shoes out at the front door because, wow.
I have another question for Canadians. What is something that you feel like people outside of Canada do not know about Canada, but you wish they did?
So thank God for Canada, because right now, as the world is shaping up, we need a lot of Canada in the world. And if Mark Carney remains the Prime Minister, which he ought to, considering all that you've just said, we'll have a real defender there. He's becoming a real global champion. This guy's a real hero. People are talking about him around the world in glowing terms.
Yeah, BBC said the other day, and I thought it was great, they're like, hey, listen, the entire free world needs to go full Carney.
Living in Canada has ruined travel for me forever, because why is the food here so freaking good? You can find phenomenal food from any cuisine, any culture in Canada, especially in Toronto where I live. Greek food, Korean, Italian, Japanese, Chinese, Ethiopian, Jamaican, Mexican. Literally anything you want, you can find it. But the problem is, now when I travel, I find myself comparing the local cuisines, the local dishes, to what I've had in Toronto. And surprisingly, sometimes they do not meet expectations, because Toronto has heightened my expectations so much. I love the diverse array of good food that we have here, and that I don't have to fly to get such authentic food. But it is such a disappointment when I go to Japan and try ramen there and realize it is not as good as the ramen I had in Vancouver. Or when my friends who went to Italy tell me that the gelato and pizza that they've had in Toronto is better than the OG Italian food. I know it's a huge privilege, but I hate that over time, my expectations for food in different places I visit have lowered so much because of how spoiled I am in Canada and in Toronto. That's honestly so sad to me because food is one of my biggest passions and something that I used to look forward to so much when traveling. And now I kind of go in with the mindset of, oh, I'm sure the food will be good, but will it be as good as Toronto? So just having that comparison mindset, I think is, ruining my experience. But at the same time, the food here is so good, so I shouldn't complain.
Yeah, welcome back again to the channel. And one of the biggest reasons people admire Canada is its reputation for being welcoming. Canada has become known as a country where people from different cultures can build a life without completely abandoning it, abandoning where they came from. For instance, people came from UK, people came from America. Walk through cities like, Toronto, Vancouver, and you'll see people from all over the world living side by side. Different languages, different foods, different traditions, and even people having different stories. And somehow, they are all part of the Canadian story. That multicultural identity has made Canada feel familiar to people who may have never ever visited the country. And for many immigrants, Canada represents something incredibly powerful. A fresh start, no matter where you're coming from. A chance to work, a chance to study, a chance to raise a family. So wonderful. A chance to believe that the future can be better than the past. And that's a powerful message. But there's another reason Canada captures the world imagination. Its natural beauty. Think about it. Massive mountains, crystal clear lakes, beautiful forest, snow covers landscape. And some of the most breathtaking wilderness on the planet. Canada doesn't just have nature. We all know that. Canada has nature on a massive scale. And for people living in crowded cities around the world, the idea of having all that space of beauty is almost unbelievable. But perhaps, let me say this, the biggest thing that people love about Canada isn't something you can photograph. It's the feeling. Canada has developed a global reputation for being peaceful, polite, and relatively welcoming to all, no matter where you're coming from. Now, of course, Canadians are human beings. We all know that. They have disagreements, political arguments, social problems, and everything else that comes with being a country. We all know that. No country is perfect. But the image remains powerful. And that image has traveled far beyond Canadian borders to the US, the UK, Brazil. People who have never stepped foot in Canada often know something about the country. They know the maple leaf. They know hockey. They know the accent. They know the cold winters. And yes, they also know the stereotype that Canadians say, and I quote, sorry a lot, all the time. Whether they have done wrong or good, they always say sorry. Thank you. Very polite words. But beyond that joke, there's something deeper. Canada has become a symbol of certain kindness of possibility. The possibility that a country can be strong without always trying to appear intimidating. the possibility that national pride can exist along multiculturalism, and the possibility that people from different parts of the world can build a shared identity. That's how Canada appeal isn't limited to one continent. You can find people in Africa who dream of studying in Canada, people in Asia who admire Canada's education system, people in Europe who appreciate its natural beauty, people in Caribbean who feel connected to its multicultural society, and people in the United States who see Canada as both a neighbor and a close cultural relative. That's something special a country can have, because Canada isn't just admired by one type of person. Its appeal crosses borders, and maybe that's the real secret. I mean, Canada has managed to become more than just a country on a map. For millions of people, Canada represents an idea of opportunity, an idea of diversity, an idea of peace, an idea of place where different people can still find something in common. But here's where things get really interesting. The world loves Canada because despite its imperfections, many people see something worth believing in. They see a country that has the potential to bring people together. And in a world that often feels divided, that idea is incredibly powerful. So why does this world love Canada so much? Maybe it's the mountains, maybe it's the multicultural cities, and maybe it's just the opportunity. Maybe it's the reputation, or maybe it's all of these things combined. The reputation, the opportunity, the multicultural cities, the mountains. Because when people look at Canada, they're not just looking at a country. They're looking at a place that for many people represents hope, opportunity, and the possibility of a better future. And that's why, from thousands of miles away, people continue to look forward the great white north and say, maybe Canada, just maybe, Canada is the place for me. But now, I want to hear from you folks. What is that one thing you love or admire the most about Canada? Is it the people? Is it the culture? Is it the natural beauty of the place? Or the opportunity? Or something completely different which I've not mentioned? So folks, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to Willie Docu Stories, because we're going to keep exploring the stories, the idea, the conversation shaping how the world sees Canada. So folks, until next time, stay curious. We'll see you again in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. May God bless Canada.